like this, okay? Just like that, in front of my hand, okay? But hold it up. As I know, you don't want to be lazy, put it on the arm. Just because you're having trouble writing music doesn't mean you should be lazy. In fact, you're going to discover that as you look at your hand, and it's right next to my hand, I want you to look at me, okay? Because your hand's going to be just fine. Because all I want you to do is to realize in a moment, you're going to begin to relax. And it's going to be simple because I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to relax right in my fingertips. Your fingertips will relax. I'm going to relax in the palm of my hand, and your hand will relax. I'm going to relax the focus of my vision. There you go. And your focus of vision will relax. And then I'm simply going to say to you, close your eyes now. And I want you to go inside, and I want you to feel good. And I want that hand right there to very, very slowly and unconsciously go down only at the rate and the speed that you drop into a deep, deep altered state. But as you go into this altered state, I want you to remember that feeling of inspiration. You remember how it was spinning around, because as you go deeper and deeper into this altered state, that inspiration is going to spin and spin. That's right. I'm going to take your hand and move it over here. A little bit. Hold it right there and let it go down only at the rate and speed that inspiration begins to spin inside you. Because I want you to go inside, and the first inspired thing I think we really need to do is to make sure we change a little bit of a belief. It sounds to me a bit as if you believe that it requires unpleasant feelings in order to be able to create good music. And I think it's time inside your mind that you realize that there's lots of examples of people doing it other ways. The fact that you've done something one way and you can't do it that way again doesn't mean that you can't find a new way to do it. There's lots of different ways to drive to the same location. There's lots of different ways to play melodies and get back to the same note. There's lots and lots of different ways that people relax. Some people relax by fishing. They sit in boats and drag string in the water and hope fish will find it. Some people relax by bowling. It's always amazed me that people say, well, let's go out on a nice evening and throw big balls at little pins. And they sit there and they throw the ball and they stand still like a hunting dog. And the ball rolls down and whacks the pins and makes them happy. Humans are capable of having good feelings about just about anything. They're also capable of having bad feelings about just about anything. It's time for you to take this feeling of inspiration and spin it so much harder and so much faster than you ever have that your unconscious has the chance to find a new doorway. Because if it spins fast enough and it spins hard enough, something is going to happen inside your mind. The pictures are going to change, the feelings are going to change, and suddenly you're going to wander through the moments of your life and find an inspired moment. It doesn't have to be now. It doesn't even have to be then. It could even be a fantasy in the future, a fantasy that couldn't even exist in normal reality. Your imagination is the fertile ground from which creativity flows. And if you can find a thought that's ever so special, and the inspiration inside you keeps spinning, that special thought can become the foundation of listening inside your head to something new. It can start with a sound, it can start with a melody, it can start with a rhythm. But until you find the special magic place, it isn't time to hear anything. So as you drop deeper and deeper and deeper and spin that feeling faster and faster, I want you to go into the state until your unconscious is ready to just zip you into something where you begin to find the doorway. And you may crack it open and just hear what's on the inside. It may sound that it's coming from the distance, but it's all going to start with a really wonderful feeling this time. Because the inspiration can come from the bad feelings you did in the past, but that gets kind of repetitious. Maybe this time you could find a really wonderful feeling and take that wonderful feeling, and it can be from any part of your childhood, any year, any time, any fantasy about the future. And the deeper you go into this trance, the faster the inspiration will spin. And when I'm talking to you, you'll know that I am, because my voice will be directed towards you. And when I'm talking to him, you'll know I'm talking to him, because my voice will be directed to him. Now, while he spends a little time inside his mind wandering around, getting ready to let something new come out, the thing that you have to face is, you said you're not as blocked as him, but it's not a matter, I don't really think, of being blocked. It's a matter of the things that people do to find creativity. I had talked to you a little bit earlier about when I grew up in the 60s in San Francisco, that a lot of people found their creativity just by taking too much drugs, and they ended up killing themselves. Not a really great choice. We lost some fabulous musicians. And unfortunately, lots of them believed that it was the only way they could go into a creative state. Fortunately, as years have gone by, I think that musicians have become a little more health conscious, that they decided that maybe shooting large amounts of heroin isn't the best way, to be able to stick around. There are still some that try it that way. To me, I think that you have to realize that what drugs do isn't get you high. The drugs tell your body what to do to alter your state. And the same thing is true. Maybe you could have something bad happen to you and you become very emotionally involved and you have strong feelings, and those feelings come out in music. But the truth is we go and watch movies of things that never happened to anybody, performed by actors, and have very strong feelings. When the movie Jaws came out, I made more money than you could possibly believe. I had people lined up outside who had developed phobias. I had people in Kansas that couldn't take a bath after watching that movie because it elicited such powerful feelings in people. Now, I know that for somebody to be able to write music and to have that music be good, they need to be able to capture the feelings and to be able to let those feelings come up. And sometimes, like you said, you feel inspired, it comes pouring out, and sometimes you don't. Maybe it'd be time for us to build something inside your mind so that you could begin to have a choice about which it is. Because when you're stuck, there should be a way that you can alter your state, other than to do something that's like, for example, you could get on a motorcycle, drive 400 miles an hour into a wall, and while you're in the hospital, you could think of some of the best music. That seems to me a little bit too much. It'd be a lot easier if you could just allow yourself to go into a state and to take that feeling of inspiration. Because you know what it feels like, you know where it starts in your body. Yep. You know how it moves through your body, and you also know that some days when you sit down that you're going to write music and you have no doubt. You start with certainty. And I'm one of the firm believers that certainty is the most important principle in human beings. When they have the certainty to believe that they can do something, almost always they will. The thing I have to overcome with most of my clients is not unlike you guys. Most people come to me because they've suffered through something and they've been through therapy or they've been in hospitals and they've lost all hope, and they usually come to me last. They always come in and they go, "I'm your last hope." And I go, "Well, then you're in deep trouble." And at the moment they laugh, that's the moment at which I know I can capture them. Because if I can give them just a little bit of hope that they can do something different, then they can do things a lot different. Now, you already have lots and lots of examples of success. So what I want you to do is to start with the success. Remember the good feeling, remember that feeling, and in a moment you're going to find yourself drifting into a trance. It's a subtle trick I use. I go first. I've noticed that when I look at people and I breathe at the same rate, and I simply begin to put myself into a deep, deep altered state, it becomes irresistible. Especially anybody who plays music has been in altered states. They know what it's about, and in a moment it's coming. I can see it starting while we're talking now. There it is. And if you take a deep breath, that's right, here it goes, and simply relax. That's right. One more time. There you go. Let yourself drop down. And while you do, take that feeling and float down. And just relax. It might be good if you just chanted one word inside your mind. Say soften. I love the word soften because it means you can soften your beliefs, you can soften your skin, you can soften the muscles, and you can soften your limitations. If you just continue to relax and listen and wonder and grab a hold of that feeling of inspiration, you know which picture it begins from, and you know how to spin it inside your body. But you know, you've always just let it spin in the past. You never had a way to do it deliberately. And if you build for yourself a little picture inside your mind, like you had a lever where you actually pushed it forward and it went faster, pulled it backwards and it slowed down, you actually could begin to control the rate and speed of how much inspiration and how much intensity it went with it. So that if you pushed it forward and more forward and more forward, as it began to spin faster and faster, it could begin to elicit for you different kinds of states. It could begin to elicit states of excitement, states of relaxation, whatever states it is that you want to be inspired enough. Because I know the unconscious portion of both of you is capable of great creativity. And if you allow yourself this trance to go inside and build the machine that will last for the rest of your life, so that you have a way of, rather than just staying frustrated, becoming unstuck because you put a handle on the door, you put a lever in your mind, you put a button on the wall that says begin now. And if you allow yourself to relax even more and to let this feeling spin faster and faster, you'll go deeper and deeper into what it is you do not know yet. Because in the silence in the back of your mind, you may begin to hear things, bits and pieces of different things. You could literally run through in your mind different feelings. Feelings of nervousness, feelings of excitement, feelings of when you were really attracted to a woman and you hadn't even met her yet and you saw her across the room. Feelings of close friendship with somebody that you really like. The feelings you have about your parents, feelings you have about your pets. It doesn't really matter. As you run through one thing to another, suddenly you'll find one that at this moment in time feels more magical than at another. Whatever inspires somebody, whatever magic that is inside them, if you search for the magic and spin the inspiration from it, the rest will easily follow. Now I know that while you're sitting here, I want you to take the time to go even deeper still. And while you're doing so, I want you to realize all you're doing is learning to take the skills that you have and to be able to use them more at your command. When you were learning to play scales and you first started doing it, your fingers didn't always do what you wanted them to. Sometimes they stumbled a bit. The same is true with mental skills. If you turn on inspiration and turn it off and turn it on and turn it off, it becomes easier to do it with volition. The name of this is thinking. Because when you use your mind the way you want to, you're a thinking, cognitive being. Now, I know that psychologists say you can't push the river and you can't make things happen, but you can set up the right state for them to happen. And if you give yourself just the right chance to drop deeper and deeper, allow yourself to just float down for a few minutes. And while you do so, I'm going to reach over and I'm going to lift up his hand just like this. And I'm going to set it up here, and I'm not going to tell you to put it down. Instead, I want you to feel it pulled towards your face. And as it moves towards your face, it's only going to be a way for your unconscious to tell me that you're ready to be inspired in a new way. Because I know your unconscious is always on your side. When something begins to fly in your eye, you blink. Your heart beats, your blood moves through the veins, you grow new cells, new taste buds. You stay alive and you live and you learn. All human beings do. And I know that your unconscious must know a lot about what gets in your way and what doesn't. So I'm going to tell your unconscious it can lift this finger up just like that when it wants to say yes. And I'm going to ask your unconscious if it understands me. That's right. Now, what I'd like to know is if you'd be willing to help him to begin to become more creative and to write more songs more quickly so that he can be happier with himself and feel better. That's right. Now, what I want you to do is to let his hand come up towards his face. And at the moment his hand touches his face, I want you to let a simple idea explode inside his mind, where suddenly he begins to see a new way for him to do this. and to take that time. That's right. Feel that hand pulled up towards your face now. Here it comes. That's right. It doesn't take that long to learn to relax. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move over here and I'm going to lift up your arm a little bit. And I want you just to relax. Let your unconscious take a hold of this. Take a deep breath right from here and breathe in. And then breathe out and just relax. Let your unconscious do the work. The best things that you write come from your unconscious. And I think it's important to let your unconscious begin to find the mechanisms, to build the controls, so that when I reach over and I touch you on the right knee, I want you suddenly to feel a rush of inspiration. And I want some new ideas to begin to pour into your mind. And I think that would be good for both of you. If you had a mechanism inside your mind, it happens from time to time. It shouldn't take that long. So very slowly let your hand go down and make the adjustments so that your unconscious is ready to make it so that this is something that you can do with volition. That's right. Here we go. Making the preparations and the change to begin to access so you can run through your emotions, find something magical, and then begin to hear inside your mind and coming through your fingers something new this time. Because it only takes a bit of magic to make wonderful things happen. And magic doesn't come from the outside. Magic comes from the inside. That's right. Let your hand go down now, making those adjustments. Here we go. And when I touch you on the knee, I want you to come out of this trance. And I want you to have that strong feeling of inspiration. And I want you to let those ideas and those notes and those sounds and those words flow inside your mind so that you're ready to have it any time that you need it. Now. That's right. Here we go. Ready? Open your eyes now. Hey, kid, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. So how do you feel right now?
Great.
Feel great? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. If I were to ask you right now, can you stop inside your mind and begin to hear something different?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Oh, good. You know, the name of that is not unblocked. The name of that is awake. Mm-hmm.